What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's daily market recap. We're going to go over my trades from this morning. I'm also going to break down the condition of the overall market. I am sitting right now in the green, up over $21,000. And you know what? Today was kind of interesting because we didn't have the really strong catalyst that we had yesterday morning. And instead, the stocks that I made the most on today were actually daily breakout setups. That's not typically my favorite setup, but I guess today, for lack of anything else, they were the stocks that gave us the biggest moves. And another thing that's kind of interesting about today was that once I had my cushion on that first trade, which was about $5,000 of profit, I felt like, okay, I can take some risk. On the second trade, I made about $2,500, $3,500, something like that. Got myself up to about $8,000. Next thing you know, I was up $9,000. And at that point, I was like, well, you know what? Your daily average has been close to 20 grand a day this month. Let's just kind of wait and see if there's something else that pops up. And sure enough, there was another stock that popped up. And that was the point where on an ordinary day in a colder market, I probably would have walked away. But today, I stayed a little bit longer. I traded all the way up to about 11 a.m. and was able to squeeze, as it turned out, another $10,000 out of the market for now $21,000 on the day. That's a pretty solid day. So let's jump onto the screen share. We'll start breaking it down here. Go and look at this, ARNAZ. This is the stock that I've made the most on, $12,000. It's rallying up again right now. It's actually coming up to a halt level. So right now, the halt level is 1427. There's 1427 on the bid, and it's thinning out just a little bit. Is it going to halt? Just barely. It looks like it's going to halt, and there it is. That's the halt now at 1450, 1428 resumption. So while the stock is halted, the resumption price will move around a little bit, as you can see, 1486, 1477. But this is great. I mean, I'm thrilled to see this. Now, this is the stock that I made the most on, but it's not the first stock I traded. So let's go back to the beginning of the day, to the first stock I traded, and then we'll come back and look at ARNAZ and see how it's looking on resumption. So yesterday, I mentioned YIBO. This is a Chinese stock that popped up yesterday and made a pretty huge move, as you can see, from like 350 all the way up to this peak at like 18, and then came all the way back down. And in fact, when it halted down right here, it halted down at $9.33. And you want to know what it was showing as a resumption price? 9 cents. 9 cents, which is insane. It was halted for a long time. It finally resumes at 553. It rips back up to 9, halts up, then it halts down a couple more times, and then it halts up, halts down, and it ended up closing the day back down around $3. Really a roller coaster. So, I was sort of worried about that possibility. Being a Chinese stock with no news, I was concerned it could be a pump and dump. We got that big move and then the drop. This morning, it popped back up at about 4 a.m., as you can see right here. Went sideways, and coming into 7 a.m., it was squeezing up again. So I decided to take a trade at 7 a.m. on this. At this point, we'd already kind of had the big pump and dump from yesterday. So what I thought we might have happen today is a little bit of a bounce off the low. And so as it squeezed up and broke VWAP, I got in right here at 557 for the break of VWAP. It squeezed up to 6, hit a high of 636. And on that first trade, in the first 5 minutes of, sort of me sitting down between 7 a.m. and 7:10, 7:15, I was up $5,724 on that stock. Is it a home run? No, it's not a home run, but it's a decent little base hit. Now, it ended up breaking back below VWAP, pulling back. I didn't take any more trades on it, but I got that one trade, broke the ice, and that put me in the green on the day. The next stock I traded was NLSP. NLSP comes out with news. It's a biotech stock. I've traded it before. It has a pretty low float of about 800,000 shares. And so since it had news, I thought, all right, I'm going to go ahead and jump on this. It was moving up the scans, hitting this high day momentum scanner. And so I jumped in it. But as you could see on this one, I only made $165.84. It popped up and it dropped right back down. This one did not hold. So, I was like, all right, well, okay, that's that. That was kind of a close call. Could have been a loss, but ended up being more or less a break-even trade. And, and then JFBR comes up. And this stock has news of integration with DeepSeek. And so DeepSeek is this obvious catalyst that has rocked the tech market. And I was surprised it didn't do more. And, so at this point, I'm kind of skeptical about the catalyst in general when we see it on a small cap stock, because we had it on Holo yesterday and that didn't really work. Had it on a couple others, they didn't work. So I don't know if it's actually going to be a good catalyst. Anyway, so I jumped in and out of JFBR quickly for about $600 of profit, but that was not a particularly good trade either. And then QLGN. QLGN, this is another one that, it has news. It pops up. It's got a pretty low float. I jumped in it as it started to curl right here. And we got this squeeze all the way up here to a high of, let's see, this was 825, goes all the way to 551. I jumped in QLGN at 474. And the reason I jumped in there was because right as it popped up on this candle, it hit a high of, let's see, this candle must have been 470. And a couple of people called it out in the room. They said it looked good. And I pulled it up and I said, that it's a pretty low float. It's a stock that has news. I'll jump in it. And so I got in at about 475 with a stop at 450. I added at 5, added at 525, hits a high of 551. And then it dumps. And this thing did not hold at all. So I was able to lock up some profit on it, $2,400. And that put me up to about $9,000 on the day with these 4 stocks. But I was disappointed to see that rejection. That was about 8:30. And so I kind of was going into the open thinking, man, I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm going to trade here. SLXN was moving a little higher, but a cheaper stock. DXF, this one was moving a little bit higher, but it's got bigger spreads. BAC, this was moving up a little bit, but it's also a tricky one. TRIB, that was moving up, but it's a cheaper one. So I wasn't really sure about any of these. And then ARNAZ, all of a sudden coming into the open, starts to squeeze. And you could see it start to pull away right here from 750, and then all of a sudden up to 850. And so right coming into the open, I started trading this, and I traded it all the way through this peak right here, with that being my final trade right up here. So I missed this move back up, although at this point in the day, I was kind of content to be done. But I was impressed with the follow through on this. The only problem with trading it at the open was that we had to contend with halts. So we squeezed up here all the way to a high of 940, and then we halted down. So that gave us a red 1 minute candle, but we had higher volume on the buying candle. So I bought the dip on resumption, and it rallies back up here, and it halts up a second time. So actually this is the second halt, but it halts up this time. It opens, dips and rips into a second halt, opens, pops up to a high of 1180, and then halts down. But again, higher volume on the green candle. So I bought the dip on resumption. It bounces up, goes lower. Goes a little lower, halts down. So I'm like, I guess that's not going to work. And then all of a sudden, as it comes back up here, I got back in right here as it squeezes up and halts right under the high of day. It opens, dips, and rips up all the way to 14. And that's where I took my profit right up there. Starts pulling back, and I thought, all right, well, that was a pretty good trade anyways. And then it rallies up again. Now, ARNAZ is a daily setup. And the daily setup on this, I'm going to take the 200 moving average off my chart for a second. Switch to auto. The daily setup is first daily candle to make a new high. So let me zoom in here. So we had this pop a couple days ago, pulls back. First daily candle to make a new high was right around 765, which is why I was interested in buying it down there this morning as it started to pop up. So through the trades I took on it, locked up about $12,000, which was pretty decent. I was pleased with that. And the levels I was looking at on this, on the 5-minute chart, first I was looking at the break of this high right here, which was around 968. Then I was looking to the left and up to the high, which was 1243. So those were the levels I was dialed in on. It's had some pretty nice action today, and I'm glad I stayed a little longer and was able to squeeze a little bit more profit out of the morning. You know, we had DWTX last week, which gave a nice midday move. Here, this is the one that went from $8 all the way up to $32. I didn't trade it. This one went without me. So, you know, some of them are going to go without you. And, you know, I chose not, I had left early. And anyways, I missed that whole move. And then yesterday we had the YIBO stock, which again, you know, another one that I missed, and it ends up going from $3 all the way up to 18. So today I decided to try to capture a little bit of action that we might see during regular trading hours, and that was on ARNAZ. So that definitely contributed a substantial amount to my day here, and I'm now sitting over $20,000, which puts me just above my daily average here for the last 30 days. So the month of January, we've got 4 days left, or 3 days left after today. So we've got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, sitting at $325,000 of profit on the month when you include today. That's certainly far more in 1 month than even I made in 1 year at different points in my trading career. Certainly earlier in my trading career, that's far more than I made an entire year of showing up every single day. And here just in 1 month to be up 300,000 is really, I mean, I'm impressed with the action we're seeing. And I'm continuing to focus on keeping high accuracy. So right now I'm sitting at about $14.8 million in total gross profit. But just in this month, we'll just look at this last month. We'll look at this month here for January. So accuracy, 75%. Really keeping that accuracy high. Profit loss ratio, solid, 2 to 1. Had a couple losses today, but they'll be manageable. Nothing was too big today. Keeping the trades relatively short, really kind of being a sniper, jumping in, jumping out, not overstaying my welcome. And best day of the week so far this month has been on Fridays. But that was mostly because last Friday was a really good day. So anyways, that's where I sit right now. And daily average is $18,886. So looking forward to showing up tomorrow bright and early and seeing if I can have another solid day. The game plan will be same as today. Sitting down just before 7 a.m., I will launch the chat room, which you'll see right here. Open the chat room, and then I'll open my broadcast, which you'll be able to click on right here. Click on that broadcast. It'll say live. You'll be able to open my broadcast for those of you guys doing a 2-week trial. And you'll be able to watch me trading tomorrow. And I'll be focused on our leading percentage gainers. So stocks up on the top of the scan here. And we'll see what's obvious. I'm not totally sure. Every day is a little bit different, but we'll be watching this scan right here. Even though DXF was our leading gainer today, unfortunately for me, no trades on it. The price is a bit higher, and I just felt like it was just too risky. I couldn't take the risk. And so, so I didn't take the trades on it. It made moves, but, that one went without me. So I'm preferring to focus on ones that are not too cheap, because if they're too cheap, they don't seem to move. But the sweet spot is kind of between 5 and 15, I would say, kind of in that range. And it's better when they start on the lower end of that range, so we can ride the momentum from 5 to 10 to 15. If they start at 15, the next thing you know, it's at 18 and 20. It's kind of tricky. So, stocks that are in the 4 to 10 range, 4 to 8 range is kind of a nice spot for breaking the ice. And my metrics would support that if we look at profitability by price. So doing well in stocks between 2 and 4, 5 and 10, 10 and 20. And then above that, it just gets too risky. And below is the cheaper ones don't tend to be very easy to trade. So that's it for me. Thank you guys as always for tuning in, and I will see you back at it bright and early tomorrow morning. Reminder, as always, trading is risky. My results aren't typical, so please manage your risk, take it slow, and practice in a simulator before you put real money on the line. All right, I'll see you guys back here tomorrow morning.